Love in the royal court, Princess Elizabeth of Belgium and Prince Christian announced husband and wife. In a world where fairy tales are relegated to children's books and royal romance seems like a relic of bygone eras, two young hearts have just proven that love stories worthy of Shakespeare still unfold within the marble corridors of European palaces. The announcement that sent shockwaves through royal circles and captured the imagination of millions came at precisely 11:47 a.m. on a crisp autumn morning. Princess Elizabeth of Belgium, heir to the Belgian throne, and Prince Christian of Denmark, future King of Denmark, have exchanged vows in what many are calling the most significant royal union of the 21st century. But this isn't just another arranged marriage between European nobility. This is a love story that began in the most unlikely of places, blossomed under the watchful eyes of two nations, and culminated in a ceremony that bridges not just two hearts, but two kingdoms with shared dreams of a modern monarchy. A meeting written in the stars. The story begins 3 years ago at the University of Oxford, where both Elizabeth and Christian were pursuing their studies, she in history and politics, he in philosophy, politics, and economics. Far from the pomp and circumstance of their respective courts, they met not as princess and prince, but as Elizabeth and Christian, two 20-year-olds standing in line at a campus coffee shop, both reaching for the last blueberry muffin. I remember thinking he had kind eyes, Elizabeth would later confide to her closest friend. There was something genuine about him that you rarely find in our circles. Christian, equally smitten, described their first encounter differently. She laughed, really laughed, when I suggested we split the muffin. Most people are so formal around me, but she just wasn't. She was herself, completely and unapologetically. What followed was a courtship that unfolded in study halls and campus pubs, on long walks through Oxford's ancient streets, and in quiet corners of libraries where they would steal moments between their rigorous academic schedules and royal duties. Their relationship developed naturally, authentically, away from the prying eyes of paparazzi and the pressure of royal protocol. Love across borders. The challenges they faced were unique to their station. How do you date when every movement is scrutinized by security details? How do you build intimacy when your conversations might be overheard by protection officers? How do you plan a future when that future involves the governance of two separate nations? We had to learn to be creative, Christian shared in their official engagement interview. Late-night phone calls, encrypted messages, meeting in places where we could just be ourselves. We discovered that love finds a way, regardless of the obstacles. Their relationship wasn't without its trials. The Belgian press initially expressed concern about their future queen potentially dividing her loyalties. Danish media questioned whether their prince was marrying up, or if this union would diminish Denmark's sovereignty. Royal protocol experts debated everything from succession laws to the logistics of a binational royal couple. But Elizabeth and Christian remained steadfast. They completed their degrees, both graduating with first-class honors, while navigating the complexities of an international royal romance. They attended each other's national celebrations, learned each other's languages fluently, and slowly began integrating into each other's royal duties. A modern royal engagement. The engagement announcement in spring came not through traditional royal proclamations, but through a carefully coordinated social media campaign that showcased their authentic relationship. The engagement photos, taken in both Belgium and Denmark, depicted a couple clearly in love, laughing together in Brussels' royal greenhouses, walking hand in hand through Copenhagen's Nyhavn district, and sharing intimate moments that felt genuine rather than staged. The engagement ring itself tells a story of thoughtful symbolism. Christian designed it himself, incorporating a Belgian diamond and Danish amber, set in a band of recycled gold, a nod to both their commitment to environmental sustainability and the blending of their two heritages. I wanted something that represented both of us, both of our countries, and both of our values, Christian explained. The ring needed to be as unique as our relationship. A wedding for the ages. The wedding ceremony, held at Brussels Cathedral with a reception at the Royal Palace of Brussels, was a masterclass in diplomatic elegance. Over 800 guests attended, including heads of state from across Europe, fellow royals, and, in a touching gesture, many of their university friends and professors. The ceremony itself beautifully blended Belgian and Danish traditions. Elizabeth wore her great-grandmother's tiara, a piece that had been worn by Belgian queens for over a century, while her dress incorporated lace from both Belgian and Danish artisans. Christian wore his Danish military dress uniform but carried a pocket square embroidered with the Belgian coat of arms. The service was conducted in 3 languages, Dutch, French, and Danish, ensuring that citizens of both nations could fully participate in this historic moment. The couple wrote their own vows, which they delivered in each other's native languages, a gesture that moved many guests to tears. "I promise to stand beside you not just as your wife, but as your partner in service to our people," Elizabeth vowed in perfect Danish. "I promise to honor your heritage while sharing mine, to build bridges between our nations, and to love you completely in every language we speak." Christian's response, delivered in flawless French, was equally moving. "I promise to support your dreams and your duties, to be worthy of the trust your people place in you, and to prove every day that our love can make both our kingdoms stronger." The political implications. Beyond the romance lies a union with significant political implications. Both Belgium and Denmark are constitutional monarchies with strong democratic traditions and progressive values. This marriage creates an unprecedented connection between 2 EU nations that share similar views on climate change, social equality, and international cooperation. Royal historians note that this is the first time in modern European history that 2 direct heirs to different thrones have married. The constitutional questions alone are fascinating. How will succession work? What happens if both are called to rule simultaneously? How will their children's inheritance be determined? "We've worked closely with constitutional experts from both countries," Elizabeth explained in their pre-wedding interview. "We're committed to finding solutions that honor both our nation's traditions while being practical for our modern world." The couple has already announced their intention to maintain residences in both countries and to share their time equally between their royal duties. They've also indicated their desire to modernize the monarchy, with plans to focus on environmental sustainability, youth education, and European unity. A love that inspires. What makes this royal wedding particularly captivating is how genuinely in love the couple appears. In an age of cynicism about both marriage and monarchy, Elizabeth and Christian present a refreshing authenticity. Their social media posts show a couple who genuinely enjoys each other's company, who shares inside jokes, and who isn't afraid to show their imperfections. "They give me hope," said Maria Gonzalez, a 34-year-old teacher from Madrid who traveled to Brussels to witness the wedding procession. "In a world that feels so divided, seeing 2 people from different countries love each other so openly, it reminds you that connection is possible." Their relationship has also resonated with young people across Europe. Sales of engagement rings similar to Elizabeth's have skyrocketed. Universities report increased interest in international exchange programs. Young Europeans increasingly see this couple as representing their own values, cosmopolitan, environmentally conscious, and committed to both tradition and progress. Looking forward, as Princess Elizabeth and Prince Christian begin their married life, they face unique challenges. They must balance their personal happiness with their public duties, their love for each other with their love for their respective countries, and their desire for privacy with their roles as public figures. But if their courtship is any indication, they're well equipped for these challenges. They've already proven they can maintain their individuality while building a partnership, honor their separate traditions while creating new ones together, and remain authentic while fulfilling their royal obligations. Their honeymoon plans reflect their modern approach. They'll spend 2 weeks traveling through both Belgium and Denmark, not in luxury resorts, but visiting small towns and rural communities, meeting with young people and environmental groups, and learning more about the citizens they'll one day serve. A new chapter for European royalty. This wedding represents more than just a union between 2 people, it's a symbol of what modern European monarchy can be. Elizabeth and Christian embody a generation of royals who are highly educated, socially conscious, and committed to making their ancient institutions relevant for contemporary challenges. They've already announced their first joint initiative, a European youth climate program that will bring together young environmental activists from across the continent. They plan to use their platforms to advocate for sustainable development, educational equality, and international cooperation. "We want to prove that monarchy can be a force for positive change," Christian said. "Our love story began at university, surrounded by other young people who want to make the world better. That's the energy we want to bring to our royal duties." The fairy tale continues. As the newlyweds wave from the palace balcony to thousands of well-wishers gathered below, it's impossible not to be moved by the genuine joy on their faces. This isn't a carefully orchestrated royal performance, this is two people who found each other, fought for their relationship, and are now ready to build a life together in service to their people. In a world often characterized by division and cynicism, Princess Elizabeth and Prince Christian offer something rare: authentic love, genuine partnership, and a vision of leadership based on unity rather than separation. Their story reminds us that the best fairy tales aren't the ones that end with happily ever after, they're the ones that show us happiness is possible, even in the most challenging circumstances. As they begin their new life together, balancing crowns and chemistry, duty and devotion, they carry with them the hopes of two nations and the admiration of millions who believe, perhaps more than ever, in the power of love to transcend boundaries and create something beautiful from the most unlikely beginnings. The future Queen of Belgium and the future King of Denmark have shown us that some love stories are worth waiting for, worth fighting for, and worth celebrating, not just because they're royal, but because they're real.